Grace Freckleton, Grace Freckleton, mother of the deceased, said that she became suspicious when, on her arrival at the crime scene, she was being consoled by members of the security forces. A soldier shoot her, cause the soldier man a ball. The soldier man a ball say I did wrong, somebody them shoot. Freckleton told the Gleaner Wednesday evening. Two soldier, when them come out and them a walk go down here so, them a cry. Them say a three shots she get, three shots. Freckleton, who did not witness the shooting herself, said she had left her daughter in her room. Residents reported that the soldiers had chased someone into the building. The Gleaner understands that at least three other disabled persons were living in the yard with Bogle. Bogle was rushed to the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, in the company of her son, where she was pronounced dead. Freckleton was bewildered at the thought that the security forces could have mistaken her daughter, who was alone in the one-way in, one-way out dwelling, for an attacker. You see, man, I run and you bust our door and go. Another resident who spoke to our news team said that Bogle's killing was chilling. When she get the first shot, we hear she bawl out, and the soldier still fire two more shots, the resident said. When the Gleaner contacted the police communications arm, personnel said that investigators were still at the scene and that information would be made available soon. Major Basil Jarrett, Civil Military Cooperation and Media Affairs Officer of the JDF, Lord, thank you, Father. At Augustown, when them kill up here, them hype. Now them kill an innocent disabled woman, and them body language can tell them wrong. A male resident who requested anonymity said, "None of them now shout and carry on. Everybody in a circle talk. We know something wrong from we ask who did, and them now tell we." Indicom confirmed that it has begun a probe into Bogle's death. The oversight body had, up to May 15 this year, launched investigations into 361 incidents involving members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF. Indicom probed 625 JCF-related incidences for all of 2019. Indicom Senior Public Relations Officer Danielle Anderson acknowledged an increase in assault allegations by members of the security forces arising out of the current curfew restrictions, added of concern, alarming shooting at the time of the alleged crimes. Off-duty incidents do not fall within Indicom's remit. Two of those incidences, occurring 4 days apart in February, involved soldiers in Portmore and Eltham Vista, St. Catherine, who were allegedly being cuckolded by cheating spouses. While one of the alleged cheaters in the love triangle managed to escape unharmed through the back door, in the other incident, the companion, a policeman, was shot and injured while attempting to flee. The cop reportedly left his service revolver behind. More recently, the JDF came under fire for the shooting of two persons, one fatally, allegedly by a soldier on Bay Street in Kingston. It was reported that the 24-year-old Javon Tallman Duaney was fatally shot on his veranda while having a meal. Guys, okay, so here's my spiel on this. Okay, yeah, it's very hot. And I apologize, guys, for the fluctuation of the speed, but you understand it's not me, right? You do understand by now that it's a flow situation, that I have no control over the speed keep on fluctuating, right? But of course, that's why it's important to subscribe. So if it does fall, that you'll be able to get back on when I come back live, right? Okay. So here's my thing, guys. You see how long, right, we have been in states of emergencies, right? And now disaster risk management because of COVID-19. Here's the thing. I appreciate our armed forces, right? All of them. But persons doesn't seem to understand the role and the nature of soldiers. Yeah? Soldiers, guys, are trained to kill. That's their nature. They are trained to kill. The characteristic of being a soldier in any army in the world is that they are trained to kill. They shoot first and they ask questions after. You understand? They're not the JCF. The JCF is not trained to kill, even though many of them do go practice, you understand, at the range, and many of them are shooters, yes, and are marksmen and women, yeah. But that's not their primary function. You understand? Their primary function, the point of the JCF, the police, is not to kill. While on the other hand, soldiers are trained to kill first and ask questions after. You understand? And so you can't expect that soldiers, and don't get me wrong here, guys. I will never condone. It's one of the reasons, guys, that you do not find that soldiers are not tried in a regular court of law, right? You know that they are not tried in a regular court of law, right? They have their special and circumstances, alter cases, and they understand and they know the person who they're dealing with, and they do their own investigation, their own due diligence, and their own investigation, and they will person who is guilty of the crime that is committed. They will do it. So my point is, right, we have taken this machine and we have infiltrated into the communities, right, and put them among civilians and expect them to act like police, which they are not. Instead of working with the police, training the police, equipping the police that they can do their jobs, right, as peacekeepers, as opposed to using these killing machines to be coming into communities of civilians and expect them to act like police. No, it doesn't work like that. We have been in state of emergency for too long. A state of emergency of a particular function, of a particular role. And what we're saying is that it is not effective. You hear, guys, I am not, because of my little 1 hour that I have, and even with the feed fluctuating so much, I can't afford to spend more time to give you some of the information that I collect. You to tell you about what is happening out there with in terms of the gunmen, the guns that are being seized, and all this, and the people who are being killed by gunmen and all that, guys. Every single day, I'm telling you, one person is being killed by a gunman, or guns are being found here and found there. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? Every single day in state of emergency. It is not effective. And all it is doing is actually giving us bad grades worldwide. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because when other persons hear that you're under state of emergency, automatically they think, oh my God, it is so violent down there. It is so bad. We can go because, it's a state of emergency. That's what happens. State of emergency means nothing really, because the government do not care about state of emergency based on the fact that the military has to be restrained. They have to, employ restraint in dealing with the civilians, you understand? And so they can't really do what they're supposed to do, right? And then on the other hand, the government realize that, and they're not afraid of the police, because most of the police, unfortunately, are just like them with guns. Right? They're just legal gunmen. Many of them are just legal gunmen. You and I know that. You understand? Many of them are not effective because they're doing the very same thing as that the criminals are doing, because many of them are their friends also, many of them. And we know that too. You understand? And so most persons don't respect the police, but they have respect for the soldiers, right? But at the same time, the soldiers' roles are being questioned, and they're finding themselves in situations wherein now they're being undermined, right, and developing a bad reputation, which we can't afford to happen with our Jamaica Defense Force. The JDF needs to be who they were trained to be. You understand? To fight our enemies, not each other. Yeah, the JDF is supposed to fight our enemies that are external, not to fight each other. And so we can't have them in civilian society, you understand, wherein these things are happening. The most of these things that you hear happening, guys, is just since we started to have this state of emergency. That's when these things start to happen, because these guys really are not trained to deal with these situations. You understand? And we can't have both ways, because when you quote unquote soften them up for the civilian population, when we're supposed to fight the real enemies outside there to protect the country, they will not be effective to do that. You understand? And so, like I said, again, I'm saying I'm not defending anyone who is guilty of doing what he's doing. I'm saying we need to give back the JDF their role that they're supposed to have and take them off the streets because that's not where they belong. They do not belong on the streets. They are beef up the police system and make the police system better. What we do is weed out the bad eggs out of the police force, weed them out, weed out all the bad eggs. Now we have, and I'm so happy for Mr. Greg Christie, who is back, right? Understand authority that they can do arrests and all that kind of stuff, which they should have had in the first instance, but they did not have. And so now, with that being the case, right, we're in they are improving. And they're actually doing what they're, in terms of persons who are, losing their lives, etc., etc. I'm really sorry about that, And like I said, persons who are guilty must be charged. However, we need to stop having the JDF out there in the streets, send them back where they belong. Okay, that they should not be on the streets. The state of emergency has been going on for too long. We need to end all of that. And as we're on that subject, this disaster risk management act that we're under also, when is it going to end? Because clearly there's no disaster risk here. Because if we did, we would not be opening up June 1st as we claim to be opening up June 1st, right? Opening up the borders to tourists and all that kind of stuff. Are we still going to be under the DRMA when tourists start to come back to Jamaica? I would love to know. You understand? Because that's another thing. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. If it is that we are under disaster risk and we have to be under the DRMA, then therefore we are supposed to be locked down. We're not supposed to be, you understand, going about business as usual, because we cannot be going about business as usual under the DRMA. You understand? You can't have your cake and eat it too. It does not work like that. So we would like to know, when is the DRMA going to come to an end, right? Okay. All right. So that's my. So the United Nations have donated $1 million $1 million to Jamaica. Yeah, they say the $1 million that they gave, mobilized through the United Nations Jamaica, aimed at adding value to the government's social protection mechanisms through immediate impact measures such as food, supporting livelihoods, education needs, and access to learning. Sorry. Where is my story? Yeah, okay. So Minister Johnson Smith, Johnson Smith, in accepting the check, $1 million check that was handed over, she said, many thanks to United Nations, Jamaica, Antonio Gutierrez, and Amina J. Mohammed for the recognition that the social economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic also needs support, and that highly indebted states like Jamaica are in fact highly vulnerable. The allocation of the $1 million, she says, that was presented by Mariko Kagashima, Japanese, right? Kagashima, our excellent United Nations Council for Refugee ad interim, will not only support health services, but also our most vulnerable families, including those on the path headed by single parents with children living with disabilities. According to the minister on her Twitter account, she said, I got drawn into subsequent meeting, but I think it qualifies that what she is going to actually spend the money on qualifies, which is basically to support health services, basic and COVID-related, women in farming, and the most vulnerable families on the path, including families with children living with disabilities. She tweeted on her Twitter account also that I would like to thank my foreign affairs team, the PIO world system. Sometimes we would like to know what basically is the criteria for us to get some of these gifts, because we want to know what are we selling our soul for, right? Because sometimes we are selling our souls and we want to know why. You understand me? And what is the criteria and what do we have to do as a people? You understand? Sometimes we need to know these things, right? And also, with all this donation being given unto us, I am also wondering, right? I've not done a tally yet, but I'm also wondering, what are they really spending all this money on? Because we seem to, they said the economy is contracting, right? and we are running out of funds, and so many donations by so many different organizations and so many governments worldwide. So really, at some point in time, would like the Administrator General to actually do an audit of all these funds that are being given to us, and for us to know exactly, how these monies are being spent, don't it? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so that's all I'm gonna say on that matter today, guys. Okay, I want to get to another story before I close today. One, the JTA, Jamaica Teachers Association. Okay, so according to this story I was reading in the Gleaner, right? It says, Jamaica Teachers Association, the JTA, President Owen Speed, has fired back at a public rebuke from Principal of Pembroke Hall High School, Reverend Claude Ellis, saying the school leader is bitter and should focus on fixing problems at his institution. In a rare and open criticism of a JTA boss by a current principal, Ellis, in a letter to the editor published yesterday, scolded Speed for his leadership of the powerful union. He argued that Speed has not tried to work with the policy of getting students back in school for June to prepare for the July to August external exams. And I'm going to comment as I read, guys, because this is the reality. I was saying the very same thing too. You understand? We already know, it has already been said that school will resume. So if school is going to be resumed, is that what you're supposed to be focusing your attention on at this point in time, right? So anyway, he rejected Speed's description of administrators being wicked for asking teachers to attend school during the coronavirus pandemic. I'm quoting him. He says, I am begging for some quality representation from my union. I don't need only a watchdog to criticize everything that is being done, but a union with recommendations and answers, the principal said. Right? Step up and lead, sir. And I have to agree. Step up and lead, sir. But Speed is rubbishing the criticisms, arguing that the principal has not moved on from the decision of his school board not to dismiss a JTA-backed teacher at Pembroke Hall who was investigated for allegedly threatening a student. I'm quoting Mr. Speed now. He said, Mr. Ellis is just simply bitter because he didn't have his way in firing the teacher, he told the Gleaner, noting that the union's position on the CXC, Caribbean Examination Council's exams, and school reopening are not different from regional counterparts and some student groups. Speed said there was no substance to any of the issues raised by Ellis, who he says should pay more attention to the running of his school. From all reports from the teachers, Mr. Ellis has contributed to the breakdown of discipline in his school, because when the teachers carry their complaints to him, he does nothing to remedy the situation, Speed said. And that is why there are so many fights, teachers getting blows all over. Last November, Pembroke Hall dominated headlines after the emergence of a video showing Marsha Lee Crawford verbally directing violent threats at a student. A disciplinary panel in February did not recommend her termination, saying the incident did not amount to any other action than a reprimand. So you see, these are the people we have who are teaching our students. Do you realize who is teaching our students, guys? These are the people who are teaching us. Now, don't get me wrong, the teaching profession is one of the most noble professions you'll ever find in this entire world. Nobody can go through life without being taught, without a teacher. You understand? No matter what profession you're in, you could be even be an astronaut, and you are or you're a pilot, or you're a submarine pilot. It doesn't matter who you are, or you're a biochemist. Every single person went through teachers. That's how important teachers are. However, guys, we do understand that we have some teachers, right, who really and truly do justice to the profession. You know that. And so we have that situation where we're having teachers who are not really teaching us anything. Yeah. And sad to say, we find that our institutions, those persons who we have entrusted our children with, right, we're supposed to be guiding them and molding them, because unfortunately we have to be working long hours and we can't afford to do it ourselves. And sad to say that these are the persons who are shaping and molding the future. I noticed and have been listening to all of these educators during this COVID-19 and with what's happening with Ministry of Education. And I'm saying to myself, really? What is going on here? These are the people who are really teaching our students. Some of them look like they need to go back to school themselves, don't it? They need to go back to school themselves, some of them. Now, here it is. Now, we have the president of the JTA, and I've been listening to him, and he has been talking. And most of what he's talking about, guys, and what he's saying, it sounds so petty. I'm saying for the president of the JTA, is a very powerful union, and for the president to be speaking like this, huh? At this point in time, when school is almost reopening. First of all, I hear him asking questions like, what's going to happen to the teachers? Because teachers are afraid to go back. What provisions have been put in place? Are there going to be PPEs for the teachers going back to school? And I'm like, really? These are the questions that you're asking at this point in time? I am concerned for our teachers. But where are the concern for the students, really? You understand? The students want to do their exams. Yes, there are some who don't, because there are always going to be some who are never going to be ready, and they wouldn't mind if they have more time. But by and large, most of the students are ready. And if they're not, you can help them to be ready. You have until July 27th. It's still not even June yet. You still have 2 months in front of you to prepare them for their exams. And instead of trying to do that, you're nitpicking, right? And now you're going to air Pembroke All High School's laundry in public. That means if there are issues with these schools, guys, there are obviously issues. And this is how you're going to find it. No, they say if you don't step on ant, you don't know the ant's belly. Yeah. So now there are issues that we know that are in these schools. And all it takes is a good fight to bring it up onto the surface. Yeah. So the principal must take care of his own problems that are in the school. And it's not the only school having problems, other schools have problems too.